It's really been up and down lately with electoral chances going into the presidential. And I regret to inform all of you that Republicans, as we go into the new year, Republicans seem to be hedging on a new strategy, something they've never done before, that I think is going to work out really well for them. You see, they're quadrupling down on being anti-trans. I know. You're thinking, wow, what a bold, unprecedented strategy. That'll surely work out for them. There's no data from 2023 or 2022 indicating that their voters are getting less and less interested with the anti-trans rhetoric. So they're taking a new angle to this particular issue. 5 days into the year, 125 anti-trans bills filed, not passed, filed. Yeah, I know they haven't. Damn it, Vosh, you worried me so much. Oh, whoa. Are you suggesting that this is the old hack? That this is not a new strategy? Come on, what are you talking about? The left can't compete with the sheer political dexterity of the GOP. Oh yeah, they're pivoting on a dime. The funny thing is that the GOP actually does have the ability to pivot their talking points really effectively. But I guess in this case, they've stuck with a winner. What with them having done so well back in the midterms, 125 anti-trans bills. So. This is, yeah, according to Aaron Reed, who I trust on this, more than double the pace of 2023. Republicans really do have nothing. I mean, they really genuinely do have like no other strategy. This is it. Patriotism, nationalism, any number of economic issues, inflation, whatever, throw it all to the side. This is what they're concerned with. This is what they're hedging on. Look at this. They got a list down here. 17 don't say gay or trans/forced outing bills, 16 gender affirming care bans, 11 book bans, 10 online obscenity laws that could suppress or ban queer content, 9 sports bans, 8 trans bathroom bans, 8 national appropriations bills with a variety of anti-trans riders, 6 pronoun usage bans or restrictions, 6 drag bans, 6 DEI, that's diversity, equity, inclusion bans, 4 anti-boycott acts, 4 liability laws/backdoor gender-affirming care bans, 4 bills ending all trans legal recognition, 3 forced misgendering bills, 3 prison bans, 2 pride flag bans. It's like that Christmas song, On the first day of 2024, the GOP gave to me 1 ban on public investments, 2 trans child abuse custody bills, 2 COSA type bills that could suppress. Yeah, it's a lot. I consider stuff like this deeply hopeful. I know that the GOP is going to get some of these passed, though not most of them. Not like significantly, probably 1 in 10 of these bills at most is going to be passed. But there is, in my mind, a kind of optimism to the knowledge that they have committed so hard to the Nazi tier, anti-trans, anti-degeneracy shit that they can't really pivot off of it, Like, what else are they shifting to? Look, also from Aaron Reed, who's been so helpful for the beginning of this stream. Thank you. I'm pretty sure this was originally posted by Libs of TikTok, posting a months-old fake image of accusing the Uvalde shooter of being transgender. This is just some random internet user, if I remember correctly. They literally just took some random picture of a person in front of a trans pride flag. And they were like, yeah, let's just pretend this person's the Uvalde shooter. This was debunked months ago. I mean, this was initially, this is old. And they've reposted. Elon was signal boosting it with his classic, exclamation points. This is going to get people killed. Yes, that is the point. They want trans people dead. They want you dead. The strongest sort of stewards of the Republican culture war, acting indistinguishably from like 4chan pull Nazi Stormfront types just a few years ago. It's shifted pretty quickly. Vosh, Ohio is moving incredibly fast. DeWine just vetoed a transphobic bill, but he knows it'll get overturned. And on top of that, he's implementing heavy restrictions on healthcare for adults. The cons are very upset about abortion rights being enshrined in our Constitution. Yeah, considering Ohio's importance in the presidential, it's not surprising to me that the GOP is committing an ungodly amount of like cultural and monetary capital there. It's surprising. Only in Ohio, yeah. Well, unfortunately, not only in Ohio, Anyway, yeah, no, the GOP really, truly, genuinely is quadrupling down on this, I mean, this has been like the fodder for the GOP for nearly a decade now. Back 2014 was when they really started kicking off with the anti-trans bathroom bills. But there used to be a lot more than that. If you remember back in 2016 when Donald Trump first ran for the presidency, he didn't even talk about trans people. In fact, I think that to a lot of people, it came across as kind of a surprise that he banned trans people from the military, because prior to that, he wasn't, yeah, it was mostly Mexico talk, build the wall, make America great again. It was a lot softer than modern GOP talk. It's mostly Mexico stuff. But as time's gone on, every other GOP talking point has been folded away in place of trans issues. This is it, this is all that's left. Isn't that odd? I want to make, no, you've probably not heard of this from me before, but I'll do it again. You've probably never heard this before. A comparison to the Nazis. So what's something you know about the Nazis? Anti-Semites, right? You've probably heard that rumor. And it's true. Not just a rumor, folks. I'm here to confirm, as a knowledgeable political streamer, they actually were quite anti-Semitic. Now, if you go back and you read through historical archives of the talking points that the Nazis used, you're not going to be surprised here, okay? The Jews came up a lot. However, the Nazis talked about a lot of stuff. They didn't just talk about Jews. There was a whole project of national revival they were trying to push through. They covered a bunch of fronts. The Nazis were pretty holistic in the extent to which they pushed, their message. They moved ground in a bunch of different directions. And where did the Nazis end up? Well, dead. Except for the ones that we allowed to escape to Argentina or took in for Operation Paperclip. But it didn't work out that well for them. However, in the process of them, in between the Nazis coming to power and them being dead, in that murky period, the 1930s and first half of the 40s, they didn't put all their eggs in one basket. I guess what I'm saying is that I feel like the GOP is genuinely putting their eggs in one basket. I mean it. I really do mean it. The GOP doesn't talk about other shit, dude. They really don't. They don't. Like, it is all, like, I know occasionally they go into the DEI stuff or they'll talk about immigration or whatever, but like, oh my God, they have committed to this issue. If anything, they're acting like a caricature of a fascist movement, where, like, if you look at most historical fascist movements, are they extremely reactionary, ethno-supremacist, blah, blah, blah? Yes, of course they are. Like, absolutely, 100%. However, I feel like they don't usually overcommit to this extent. It just speaks to me of a bunch of desperate GOP campaign managers and strategists who don't know what to do. They do still like the border wall. I'm not saying they don't ever talk about other issues, but man, has it been scaled back. I mean, massively so. Like, the extent to which they have gone all in on this talking point. And I think there's also a relevant distinction to be made when it comes to the importance of the issue. What effect does the presence of trans people have on American society? Very little, apart from the fact that we have more furry pornography and our ability to code has gotten better. Great. What effect does immigration from the southern border have in our country? Let's be real here. Massive. Huge. That's a real issue. If you, like, in a completely non-racist society, there would still be good reason for politicians and statisticians and sociologists to be very interested in what is going on at the southern border. The subject of illegal and legal immigration from the southern border both are of great interest to people, even outside the reactionary GOP sphere. So when they focus on issues at the border, at the very least, like, that is a real issue. That's an actual thing that's happening. There is, like, meaningful shit going on down there. But what about trans people? Nothing. Totally disproportionate, completely irrelevant, disconnected from reality. But they keep coming back to it, heavier and heavier and heavier, over and over and over. Bosch, even a Republican, admitted the right has nothing on TV. Really? Arizona GOP lawmaker says Republicans have nothing to campaign on. Nice. Criticizing their approach to government funding and saying his colleagues in the party have, quote, nothing to campaign on. Biggs, former chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, slammed his conference after being asked how many of the 12 individual spending bills the House Republicans completed during an appearance on the Chris Salcedo show. None of them have been completed, Biggs said. There have been a few of them. 7, I think, have been sent to the Senate from the House. The Senate has not taken up a single one of those bills. How do you campaign on the trust of the American people? You fail and continue to fund this goofy Ukraine, this outrageous Ukraine debacle that's going on. We have nothing to go out there and campaign on, Chris. It's embarrassing. I mean, that's true. When was the last time you heard of Republicans passing a bill? See, even with the House and Senate being like deadlocked the way they are, the Democrats have managed to get some stuff done. Not enough, and in a lot of cases, it's not been very good, but they have. What has the GOP done? Like, legitimately, what have they done in like a legislative sense? You know, like nothing. Literally jack shit. Nothing. I guess I don't know. When I look at this and I make these comparisons and I think like, what would this have looked like through the historical lens? What I'm thinking of is like a cartoon Weimar Republic where the Nazis never bothered to pretend that they were in favor of like workers' rights, where they never bothered to pretend that they like cared about welfare or like ending inflation or like bringing down housing costs or like, you know, any like all of the shit they pretended to care about before it turns out like, oops, turns out the Nazis are just Nazis. Well, who could have guessed that one? You know, but like the GOP's given up on all of that before they've even attained the power they're looking for, which is just like, man, they showed off Hunter Biden's ding dong. It's true. Vosh, you're wrong behind the scenes. They're well-oiled and focused on deregulation, tax cuts, destroying the union. No. Liquid nitrogen. You're misunderstanding me, okay? I'm talking about what they're campaigning on. Obviously, if Republicans had power, there is a full internal document, process, everything. It's not even internal. They released the 2025 project to dismantle democracy. That totally true, yeah. But I'm talking about what they're campaigning on, what they're selling to the people, what they're trying to promote to people in the interest of getting elected. Now, in fairness, Republican leaders don't actually hate trans people. In fact, it's a pretty good odds that most of them are chasers, okay? They're out there getting trans-dicked on the steps of the Capitol building every night after they pay, the security guards off to turn away. This isn't like a personal beef. This is just a very classic fascist tactic, which is if you have nothing else to talk about, convince people that there is an internal enemy destroying the country, and that internal enemy is sort of like a degenerating force that's eroding the natural values of your society. It's happened a million times before. I just feel like usually it's not this blatantly hollow. It's not this like transparently inauthentic. Vosh being a chaser isn't mutually exclusive with hating trans people. That's true. To be more specific, then they may hate trans people, but they are not sincere in their so-called principled moral opposition to the existence of trans people. You know, it's they really wouldn't care this much if they didn't think it would get them votes. The legislative tracker. Hello. Another promotion of the wonderful work that she does. Erin Reed does a lot of really good trans advocacy stuff. From like an updated list of states you really shouldn't travel to like all the bills that are going on, you know, all this business. Youth state risk, adult state risk, that kind of stuff, you know. It's quite a big list, too. Oh, well, it's still big, but it doesn't go down that far. Do you think this will be worse for the GOP than the Dems' continued support of the Palestinian genocide? No. Biden's fumbling of the Israel issue is unique and significantly worse in terms of strategy than anything the GOP is doing right now. I laugh at the mistakes of the GOP, but internally I cry at the mistakes of the DNC. I don't even like the Democrats. Ain't it, Killjoy? Also, in regards to their privatization policies and anti-union practices, the Nazis also had a much clearer ideological vision since they were guided by an extreme level of state corporatism and state-promoted social Darwinism. Generally, I agree, yes. I think that, as is often the case, one of the things that's saving us from the GOP here is their incompetence. Though maybe if they were more competent, they wouldn't be able to be what they are. Who knows? Do you think they've given up on restricting abortion? I think that the GOP is going to dial it back a lot with the abortion stuff as time goes on because it's been an electoral disaster for them. It's such an unpopular policy, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they're going to keep with it because there is a lot of inertia here, but, you know. I'm really worried the Dems fumbling Palestine's going to get us Project 2025. Yeah, hold on one second. Biden approval rating. Well, don't worry, I've got good news, okay? His lowered approval rating is holding steady. Where's October 7th? Here's October 7th, okay? Where he was at 39.8, and now he's at 38.3, only a 1.5% drop for aiding and abetting a genocide. Okay? Maybe there is hope yet. Fantastic. In truth, like I've said before, the real harm to the Biden campaign effort, the real harm isn't going to be fewer people supporting Biden. it's going to be that he's no longer going to have the support and energy of the people who would have advocated for Biden but wouldn't approve of him, like young left-leaning people who tend to be like very high sort of energy advocates at the local level. I changed my lighting a little bit. I feel like I'm a little washed out. Is that better? I'm a hell of a lot brighter now. Yeah, I think that distinguishes me from the background a bit better. I think that's better. I tilted my forward-facing lights so that they don't light up the background as much and there's more distinction. Do you really think legal weed would give them a W? I mean, maybe, but they haven't even done the legal weed thing, you know? Like the most, like Biden's already done this twice now. The whole like federal sentence for marijuana, like, you know, release them from prison shit. Like they're not even doing the legal weed. It would help, to be sure. Sam Cedar was saying he thinks people will switch back to Biden when the election gets closer, Vosh. I don't know, though. Some people will, but will all of them? No. No. There will be people who have been swayed from this, unchangingly. How meaningful are approval ratings? It's not always a very helpful metric unless you know how to interpret the data. Thoughts on South Africa's filing against Israel? I think it's nice to get some, international backbone. Apparently, Turkey has signed on to the crimes against humanity charge that South Africa has filed against Israel, which, a NATO member, it's pretty impressive. I guess we'll see. Rare Turkey W, yeah. First good thing they've done, yeah. Turkey's been signaling a lot of support to Arab countries lately. I feel like they've been leaning in that direction, so I guess it makes sense they do this. Do you think it feels like 2016 election season? No, I don't think so. The things are so different from how they were in 2016. The amount of change that's happened politically between now and 2016 is like, it's like pre and post 9/11, man. I mean, maybe not that significant, but like the extent to which the paradigm has changed, largely because of the GOP, not the Dems. The Dems are very resistant to change. The GOP just jumped right into the new world with being open fascists. What are Biden's chances? I don't know. And there's still a lot of time, There's still like there's still a year to go, more or less. We'll see.